Hey guys, welcome to episode 13 of Women's Wrestling Focus, brought to you by SEScoops and hosted by me, Ella J of A Wrestling Gal podcast. Now, a lot has happened since the last time we spoke here on YouTube. Roxy is now the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion after defeating Miranda Alizé at Death Before Dishonor at their pay-per-view a few weeks ago to become the youngest and inaugural champion. So that is super, super exciting, especially as Ring of Honor is looking to rebrand, reinvent, and expand their women's division. We also had NWA Empower, which was the brand's first ever all-women's pay-per-view, which myself got to attend and do some exclusive interviews for. It was so cool to be a part of the show and do interviews and watch it all unfold before my eyes as the women made history there. Chelsea Green walked away with the inaugural Invitational Cup, which that is super special. The Hex also walked away with the returning NWA Women's Tag Team Championships after defeating Kylan King and Red Velvet in the finals. And Tootie Lynn, St. Louis's own, had a massive ovation and made it to the final two of the main event in the Women's Invitational, and so much more. And coming up soon for Impact is the Knockouts Knockdown pay-per-view, which is making its return for the first time in 4 years. So that is coming up. But immediately this weekend, we also have some more women's wrestling coming up with WWE's Extreme Rules pay-per-view, where we not only have one, not two, but 3 women's matches on the card, which is really exciting because we don't have too many pay-per-views where we have 3 women's matches. 2 of them are championship matches, but one, it's just a good old brawl. So I'm super excited for it. So without further ado, let's get on with my predictions and preview of WWE Extreme Rules. Now, starting things off, we have the Raw Women's Championship on the line this Sunday at Extreme Rules from Columbus, Ohio, ironically. And we have Charlotte Flair defending her Raw Women's Championship against Columbus's own Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss is a little bit different from the last time she was in Columbus. She now has this more darker funhouse character, and she also has Lily the doll by her side, so who knows what role Lily could potentially play into this matchup. Now, no additional stipulation has been added to the match so far, but it wouldn't be surprising to see WWE possibly adding on a last-minute stipulation, since this is Extreme Rules we're talking about. But so far, none of the women's matches have stipulations beyond championship matches. So here, we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss squaring off in a one-on-one match for only the second time on the main roster, surprisingly. They've been in multi-woman matches with each other, but this is only the second televised main roster match we've seen between the two in a one-on-one match. The first happened at Survivor Series 2017, where Alexa Bliss at the time was the Raw Women's Champion, and Charlotte Flair was the SmackDown Women's Champion after defeating Natalya a few weeks before. And that, again, was the first time those two had met on the main roster in a one-on-one matchup. At the time, they were 2 of the most decorated women's champions at the time, and definitely at the top of their game, and they definitely still are. So I'm super excited because this is not a matchup we get to see all that often. I think it's been highly anticipated for years. For a while, the two were on completely different brands, but once Charlotte was moved to Raw, people kind of got an inkling. Maybe we can finally get that proper Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair storyline, and now it's finally coming into fruition. Charlotte Flair has already previously defeated Nikki ASH, Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax in weeks past, but now she looks to defeat the former goddess, Alexa Bliss, who has changed her attitude a bit since the last time that Flair and Bliss had met in the ring, and they definitely had an intense confrontation on Monday Night Raw on Alexa's playground, where Bliss said Charlotte would be nothing without her championship. So those are some fighting words from a former Raw Women's Champion to the current Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. But Alexa wasn't alone. Obviously, Alexa came prepared with Lily, but Bliss also had a special surprise for Charlotte Flair, bringing back Charlie the doll as, I guess, a gift to Charlotte Flair, maybe a peace offering. We don't really know Bliss's motivations behind anything, but Charlotte Flair wasn't really a fan and ripped Charlie the doll's head off and then proceeded to try and attack Lily as well, but Bliss stopped her and laid her out with a DDT. So that segment ended in a lot of confrontation, but there is a lot riding on this championship match, as again, these two have rarely squared off on televised events. So I think it's actually going to be really, really good, especially we had this new reinvented, darker Alexa Bliss. But deep down, I still think we can still see some inklings of the goddess. Who knows? Maybe Charlotte Flair is the one to maybe bring back the goddess that we all know and love and respect. So we will see what happens, but Charlotte Flair is a multi-time champion, so this one is really a toss-up. Bliss is definitely at the top of her game right now. She has defeated so many people over the last year since introducing this new, darker, edgier, kind of creepy character. So if anybody's going to take the championship off of Charlotte Flair, I could see it being Alexa Bliss, but my only gripe with that is that I do not want a short Charlotte Flair title reign again. Charlotte did just win the championship at SummerSlam against Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley in a triple threat match, and her reign before that was literally about 24 hours. So playing off of that, this reign would only be about 30 days, a little bit over 30 days. So if Charlotte Flair is going to remain champion and retain, I want this to be a long, lengthy reign, but also part of me would love to see what Alexa Bliss could do with this championship. And again, this match has no stipulation added to it, so it's possible it could end in a DQ, a countout, or a no contest, but I definitely think it's safe to assume that maybe Lily the doll or maybe even Charlie the doll could be having some assistance in this match. Some role could be a moving factor in this match. We don't know, but I definitely, something's going to be up Alexa Bliss's sleeve of tricks. So on this one, I still think I'm going to go with Charlotte Flair retaining here, simply because would they do another short reign back to back? I don't think so, but who knows? I am in love with this match. I want to see what these two can do, especially now that Bliss has a completely different character from the last time these two met, and the roles are kind of reversed. Charlotte, I think Charlotte's been this heel, but also Alexa Bliss has been heel, so the lines are kind of blurred. I really don't know if people know who they're supposed to be rooting for in this matchup. I am a fan of both of them, so it's tough for me to decide personally, but I think Charlotte Flair is going to retain. Do I think she will retain cleanly? No, I think there's going to be some weird ending to this, some cinematic ending, something unusual. So we'll leave it at that. But in the end, I do think Charlotte Flair will be walking out of Extreme Rules as the Raw Women's Champion. I would love, though, if they could add some match stipulation to this, which, like an Extreme Rules match or something, a hardcore match, something. I think that adds another layer to this that Alexa Bliss can capitalize and use to her advantage within her character work. So we'll see what happens, but I got Charlotte Flair retaining this Sunday. Via what means, I do not know. But we also have another championship match where the Smackdown Women's Championship is on the line as Big Time Becky Lynch is defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against the former champion that she defeated at SummerSlam, Bianca Bel-Air. Now, we still have Friday Night SmackDown to go at this time, but Big Time Bex has had Bianca Belair's number ever since SummerSlam, really. Obviously, Becky Lynch returned at SummerSlam after Bianca Belair's opponent, Sasha Banks, did not show up. Carmella did answer the challenge, and we thought we were going to be getting that championship match at SummerSlam, but Becky Lynch came out and surprised everybody by returning at SummerSlam last month and took out Carmella and challenged Bianca Belair for her SmackDown Women's Championship, which Becky is no stranger to holding, and the crowd was erupting, as they should. You have Big Time Becky Lynch returning for the first time in about a year and a half to an enormous ovation back in Las Vegas, and obviously the people love and respect back-to-back to Bianca Belair. So it was kind of this dream match that we had all been anticipating and hoping for, but didn't turn out how we all had planned or thought. And Becky Lynch defeated Bianca Belair in surprise fashion by clocking her and hitting her with a manhandle slam for the 1, 2, 3, which left all of us shocked and speechless, including myself. But I guess WWE is ushering this new era of the SmackDown Women's Championship, but Bianca Belair is not done there. She is adamant about getting her rematch this Sunday at Extreme Rules, and it's been signed, sealed, and soon to be delivered, as the two signed a contract a few weeks ago on Friday Night SmackDown, which didn't end too badly, surprisingly. Normally we get an all-out brawl, but that one was pretty, I think, composed. And last week on Friday Night SmackDown was in Knoxville, Tennessee, in Bianca Belair's hometown, where Mayor Kane, who is also a WWE Hall of Famer, gave her the key to Knoxville County, and Bianca Belair led them in their hometown anthem. But Becky Lynch maybe wasn't a fan because she interrupted, saying she had never been to a homecoming celebration before, and she had some words for Bianca Belair, or so we thought. But Becky Lynch did offer Bianca Belair a friendly handshake, but Bianca wasn't having it. She held her hand, and Becky tried to clock her, but Belair tried to go for the KOD, then got Becky up on her shoulders, but Becky reversed it and then again hit Bianca Belair with the manhandle slam. So, like I said, Becky Lynch has had Bianca Belair's number the last few weeks, ever since reclaiming the SmackDown Women's Championship. So there's a lot riding on this, as again, we still have the go-home show of SmackDown to go. So maybe Bianca Belair will finally come up on top and have some momentum going into Extreme Rules. I sincerely hope so, but we also can't ignore this revamped Becky Lynch, this cocky, arrogant, also fashionably bold, big time Bex, I would say. She's definitely come in with a new swagger and a new attitude, which I'm kind of liking. I kind of dig it. I respect it. She's trying, she's coming off having a baby, and she needs to bring something new to the table. So that is really refreshing to see. And so I think this is a really highly anticipated matchup between the two great champions. Bianca Belair is huge with the crowd, as you know. She kind of main evented WrestleMania with Sasha Banks, but also it's also a possibility that maybe Sasha Banks will try and claw her way into this matchup. We don't know yet. We don't know where Sasha Banks has been. But for right now, on the card is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. And I really want Bianca Belair to reclaim her championship. So I think Bianca Belair now has had the proper time to prepare and adjust to this new Becky Lynch. And again, she now has time and she knows her opponents going into the pay-per-view. So I think Bianca Belair will be reclaiming what is rightfully hers in the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I think we're going to be getting a new SmackDown Women's Champion, a two-time SmackDown Women's Champion, walking out of Extreme Rules again. And again, no stipulation has been added to this match as of this recording. That could change. Again, it is Extreme Rules. We could be getting a hardcore match, Extreme Rules, tables, ladders, chairs, who knows? It is Extreme Rules, so I think WWE is going to want to add some shock value to it, but again, I think now that these two have had the proper chance to build on this storyline and really ride this wave of momentum that the crowd has been giving both of them, I think this is going to be possibly match of the night between the two great competitors, great performers, and now hopefully longer than 25, 26 seconds. Just give them some time. I think these two can really deliver. Again, the contract has been signed and sealed. Now it's just up to them to deliver what I know will be a great performance if they have enough time. But my words, Bianca Belair will be walking out of Extreme Rules as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And also on the card, we have a non-title match where Liv Morgan challenged the most beautiful woman in WWE, Carmella, last week on Friday Night SmackDown, where Liv Morgan teamed up with the recently debuted Toni Storm against Carmella and Zelina Vega. And the match didn't go according as planned because Carmella took a shot in the turnbuckle face first, immediately rolled out of the ring, and kind of freaked out and thought that she had broken her nose. And so Zelina Vega, as the compassionate partner that she is, rolled out of the ring and tried to console Carmella as the two walked around the ring and back up the ramp, but were unaware of the referee counting to 10, which allowed Liv Morgan and Toni Storm to pick up the victory via countout. But after the match was when things got really dicey and really interesting. So Liv Morgan is kind of fed up with Carmella's attitude, and so she challenged her to a match at Extreme Rules. And again, this is something we rarely see. We really rarely see non-title women's matches on major pay-per-views. So this was really, really exciting to see Liv Morgan challenge Carmella for a non-title where the only thing at stake is really who's going to get the better of each other. And so I am extremely thrilled that this match is happening because the week before their match was apparently canceled on the September 11th edition of Friday Night SmackDown, which was such a bummer, and a lot of us were not happy with that, and clearly they weren't either. But this is kind of some retribution for that, and it gives them a spotlight and hopefully some decent time to get down to it and showcase themselves. Obviously, I would assume Zelina Vega and maybe Toni Storm would be in each of their corners. Liv Morgan is going one-on-one with Zelina Vega this Friday night on SmackDown, where Carmella said she has to go through Zelina before she gets her on pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens. I would think Liv Morgan would take the victory over Vega going into the pay-per-view, but I mean, Carmella has been a little sneaky lately, so it's possible she could interfere. But this match, as of this recording, is still scheduled to go down. Again, there hasn't been no stipulation added to it, but it's a great chance for the SmackDown women to get a chance on a pay-per-view in a non-title match. It adds another layer, another storyline outside of the championship pictures that I think the crowds are really, really going to enjoy. I think for the crowd's sake, though, Liv Morgan is the right choice here, the right call to be the victor, because she has such a following behind her. And again, if you're trying to get retribution for canceling a match on SmackDown the week before, Liv Morgan taking the victory at Extreme Rules will leave a lot of people happy, including myself. And again, I hope these two get decent time because they are very capable performers and again have a huge draw and respect from the crowd behind them. So if they are given the allotted amount of time, I think this can be, again, a dark horse match that has the potential to be really, really good. But prediction, Liv Morgan takes the victory here. So yeah, those three are the matches confirmed for Extreme Rules. We also have some other storylines going on right now in WWE. I mean, we did just get new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions as Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley, the kind of unlikely duo, defeated Natalya and Tamina for the championships on Monday Night Raw. But you also can't forget, Shotzi and Nox have kind of had Tamina and Natalya's number with a string of victories, and those two have been appearing on SmackDown and Raw in backstage segments, so perhaps those two are next in line, but I would assume Tamina and Natalya would get a title shot first at the new champions, but maybe after that, finally getting Shotzi and Nox a new actual opportunity for the championships on the line would be something that is well-deserved, and they've already proven themselves by defeating the former champions on multiple occasions. So I think it's only right to give them a championship opportunity at some point, whether that's at Extreme Rules or sometime on Raw or SmackDown. I mean, we do have the draft coming up, so things can get shaken up pretty quickly. But the women's tag team champions are kind of a floating duo, so they go between brands, so I don't even know if it really matters. But Shotzi and Nox definitely deserve a championship opportunity at some point. We also obviously have Naomi, who has been vying for a match on SmackDown, but Sonya Deville will just not give her the time of day. But again, I don't know how far this storyline is going to go because the draft is coming up. So what happens if she gets drafted right back to Raw? I have no idea, but give Naomi a chance. I think a lot of people are maybe hoping for maybe Sonya Deville versus Naomi, or maybe Naomi joining the bloodline. There's a lot of things that a lot of us want, but we will see what happens. I think Naomi I feel Naomi's time is finally coming soon where she will be back on the SmackDown brand in a actual match very, very shortly. We're rooting for her. I'm rooting for her. I think Naomi is so talented and the crowd loves her. She absolutely deserves the best and is one of the most exciting and enthralling and most amazing athletes that WWE has ever had. So utilize her. Honestly, she has such a draw to her, and so at least they're continuing the storyline where it's something, but also a lot of us are just ready to see Naomi get back into a WWE ring. But again, things are going to be shaking up very, very shortly with the draft underway in about a week and a half, literally next Friday night SmackDown. It's in about 9-10 days at the time of this. But going into Extreme Rules this Sunday, there's a lot riding on this and a lot of expectations. As again, we have 3 women's matches on the card, 2 championship matches. We have obviously Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. We have Becky Lynch versus Bianca Bel-Air for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And we still have Liv Morgan versus Carmella. So let me know what your predictions are down below. Obviously, my predictions to walk out as the winners are Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan. I think it would send a lot of the people home happy, but we never know. Anything could happen in WWE. I'm hoping that at least one of those matches gets a Extreme Rules or some hardcore stipulation added to it, since it is kind of a stipulation-based pay-per-view, but we'll see what happens. But let me know down below in the comments who your predictions are to be the winners and the victors walking out of Extreme Rules this Sunday. There's a lot on the card. We still don't know. Some things are still up in the air, and especially with the draft coming up soon, that could potentially affect who's walking out as champion or as the winner between Liv Morgan and Carmella as well. So we'll see what happens, but I highly look forward to the pay-per-view this Sunday. It's going to be so exciting. And again, thank you all for joining me today. I missed you guys so much. It's been an insane month, but there's a lot of fun stuff coming up again, and I hope you all enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to SEScoops on YouTube and myself at It's Ella J on Twitter. And so without further ado, this is Ella J. This has been episode 13 of Women's Wrestling Focus, and don't forget to watch Extreme Rules this Sunday on the WWE Network or Peacock if you're here in the US. It should be fun. Bye, guys.